Sky crashing into front yards. A United Airlines 777 declaring a mayday and making an emergency landing. Yay! What went wrong? We talked to terrified residents on the ground. A major disaster declared in Texas. More than 14 million without clean water. The long lines for food and water. A hotel fire burning out of control. The sprinklers damaged by the cold. And as the weather warms up, burst pipes now flooding homes.
It's pretty much all ruined, right? There's not much able to be saved.
Plus the outrage as customers get energy bills for thousands of dollars despite the blackouts. The nationwide vaccine delays after the storms. What the White House and FedEx say they're doing to make it up. Migrants crowding at the southern border as the Biden administration reverses a Trump policy stopping asylum seekers. The first busload crossing into the U.S. Check your mute. An entire school board resigns after being caught on Zoom trashing parents over their calls for in-person learning.
It's really unfortunate that they want to pick on us because they want their babysitters back.
Plus our groundbreaking study of teens and the pandemic, why so many aren't getting enough sleep. And the mom teaching her daughter Black history, one photo at a time.
This is NBC Nightly News with Jose Diaz-Balart.
Good evening. We begin with breaking news out of Colorado, where a Boeing 777 bound for Hawaii had major engine failure. This is video of the plane moments after it happened. You can see the black smoke it left behind. Parts from the plane literally fell off, raining down on residential neighborhoods below. This is part of that plane in one front yard. And this is more debris in a nearby soccer field. The plane forced to return to Denver and make an emergency landing. You can see the damaged engine there. Tom Costello has late details.
The video purportedly from onboard United Flight 328 terrifying. The right engine on fire, most of the covering gone. While on the ground, shrapnel and what appears to be the engine cowling in the front yard of a home in the Denver suburb of Broomfield. Nearby, more chunks and pieces littering a soccer field. It was just after 1 p.m. Mountain Time when the pilot on the 777 flying from Denver to Honolulu with 241 people on board declared an emergency.
Mayday, Mayday, United 28, United 328 Heavy, Mayday, Mayday aircraft.
328 Heavy, say again, please, read all that again.
Yeah, United Denver departure, United 328 Heavy, Mayday aircraft just experienced engine failure, needed turn immediately.
On the ground, witnesses heard a loud bang, then saw a puff of smoke as debris began falling from the sky.
We heard the boom, looked up, and saw stuff just raining down from the sky, so we took shelter.
United says the plane experienced a rare uncontained engine failure where the engine fails and explodes rather than containing the failure. Despite widespread debris, no one on the ground was hit.
Remarkably, we have had no injuries reported yet. So considering how nice the weather is today compared to last weekend, the amount of debris and how far it stretches, the dog park is right here, obviously the turf field behind me, and we have had no reports of any injuries.
The incident drawing parallels to an uncontained engine failure 3 years ago on a Southwest Airlines flight that made an emergency landing in Philadelphia. One passenger was killed when the shrapnel punctured her window, pulling her from her seat. Today, no injuries. The flight landed safely at Denver International. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
I know that NTSB is already mobilizing so that they, an independent agency, can provide right away information as they piece together what has happened.
Yeah, getting to the bottom of this mechanical failure is going to be critical. Or did the engine ingest a flock of birds as it took off from DIA, or perhaps even a drone? All of those possibilities right now are on the table. Jose?
Tom Costello, thank you. We are joined now by NBC aviation expert and veteran pilot John Cox. John, good evening. Engine failures are rare. What could have caused this?
Jose, this sort of engine failure is very rare. It's known as an uncontained failure. They're going to be looking for components inside the airplane, inside the engine that may have failed before and caused this, something like metal fatigue on one of the turbine blades, something like that.
The NTSB now has this huge debris field spread out across neighborhoods. What are they going to be looking for?
The NTSB will gather all of the evidence that they can, all from the things that fell off of the airplane as well as the engine itself. And then they'll very carefully look for anything that said that a blade failed, a disc failed, a compressor section or turbine disc failed. They know what to look for because there's only so many things that can cause this sort of engine failure.
John Cox, thank you. Now to our other major breaking news. In Texas tonight, a weather crisis is now a humanitarian nightmare. Millions are without clean water. Others waiting hours in line for food. And now the cost and damage from the disaster is beginning to become clear. Morgan Chesky reports from Dallas.
Tonight, the end of the Texas deep freeze, turning one crisis into another.
Hearing multiple calls saying that the roof is on fire.
Overnight, flames tore through a Killeen hotel. The fire made even worse by a failed sprinkler system, damaged when it froze. The water issue still impacting more than 14 million Texans, now forced to boil or find bottled water till supply is deemed safe.
We don't have any drinking water, any flushing water, any washing water, any water. I need the water pretty badly.
Today, President Biden approved an emergency disaster declaration offering grants for temporary housing and loans to repair property damage for 77 hard-hit counties. But Texas officials say it's not enough.
Governor Abbott asked for a major disaster declaration for all 254 Texas counties for both individual assistance and public assistance.
This is what Bantu Segal and his wife Paulina came home to, a burst pipe flooding their downstairs.
Water went into those walls, and our biggest worry is mold for our kids, with anything with moisture related.
The couple unaware of the damage until they got home from the hospital, where both worked long hours treating patients, many who lost power for slips and accidents on ice.
We can land spaceships on Mars, but we can't figure out how to get energy to communities in Texas. It's quite frustrating.
Frustration shared statewide. With the extreme weather, energy prices soared. Now residents who had power reporting energy bills in the thousands. The governor holding an emergency meeting tonight to address it. In Austin, nearly 40% of the city lost power for multiple days.
This is a catastrophic failure.
A catastrophic cost, too. The freeze on its way to surpassing Hurricane Harvey as the state's costliest weather event in history. For the millions still without water and countless others picking up the pieces, help can't come fast enough.
And Morgan joins us now from Dallas. Morgan, any idea when this water disaster will be resolved?
Yeah, Jose, even with millions facing those compromised water supplies, it is important to note progress is being made. Local communities are lifting those boil notices by the hour. Jose?
Morgan Chesky in Dallas, thank you. The storms are dealing another major blow to millions who hope to get their COVID vaccines this weekend. Sites in every state have put appointments on hold or canceled plans altogether. Blaine Alexander has details.
As the country starts to thaw out from unprecedented winter weather, it's bringing another devastating impact, slowing the shipment of precious vaccines. 6 million doses delayed, impacting thousands of sites in all 50 states. The Biden administration now urging states to make up ground.
We're asking vaccine administration sites to extend their hours even further and offer additional appointments if we all work together, from the factory all the way to the vaccinators. We will make up for it in the coming weeks.
In New York, this chart shows the sharp dip in vaccinations over the past week. As of Friday, only 40% of the expected supply actually arrived. Even sunny California is feeling the impact. In Los Angeles, all city-run vaccination sites have been forced to shut down Friday and Saturday. David Fishoff got the news as he was waiting in line.
I think that's crazy that they don't have more vaccine for the rest of this country.
According to the county, more than 60,000 doses are stuck in Kentucky and in Tennessee, home of the FedEx shipping facility. The company says it's rerouting as many vaccine shipments as possible using regional hubs in California and New Jersey. The White House says all backlogged doses should be delivered in the next week. And some progress in hard-hit Texas. This Houston hospital opened 1,000 vaccination slots starting today. They've already been filled. But the delays are even more devastating for patients like Colleen Cords, a stage 4 lung cancer survivor in Kansas. She can't even get on the vaccine waiting list.
I'm stuck in my house because I'm scared to death to go anywhere because I've fought cancer for 4 years hard. And I don't want to die of COVID, after going through all of this.
And Blaine joins us now from Atlanta, where that city is also seeing some delays this week.
Well, that's right, Jose. In fact, this very parking lot is used as a vaccination site, but the county has now notified anyone who's scheduled to get their second Moderna shot on Monday that those appointments will have to be rescheduled, likely for some time in the coming week. Jose?
Blaine Alexander in Atlanta, thank you. To help you plan when and where to get your COVID vaccine, our interactive guide can help. Visit planyourvaccine.com for more information. Sweeping changes are underway for our country's immigration policies. President Biden is now relaxing tough Trump-era rules for asylum seekers at the border. Here's Megan Fitzgerald.
Tonight, a major change in the nation's immigration policy as 25 asylum seekers cross the border from Mexico into San Diego. They're the first of 25,000 waiting in Mexico for asylum hearings here in the U.S. Some have been there for years, like Angelica Matos.
I was very afraid.
She fled Venezuela after her husband was tortured and jailed.
In the United States, we have that kind of safety. We have the opportunities to grow as a professionals.
The Biden administration is now allowing some migrants fleeing extreme violence to stay in the U.S. for their hearings, reversing Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. Sam Bishop helps migrants waiting at the border.
Their journey doesn't end there. You still have hundreds of people, arriving in the U.S. who need access to food, water, health care.
Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas saying it is important to underscore that this process will take time and that individuals should register virtually to determine if they are eligible. Physical presence at a port of entry is not the way to gain access. Migrants will fill out information through an online portal. Before they enter the U.S., they'll have to test negative for COVID in Mexico, then travel to area hotels before heading to their final destination. San Diego expects to process 25 asylum seekers a day for now. Next week, 2 entry points in Texas will start allowing some migrants in. But the policy is stirring outrage among some Republicans. Senator Marco Rubio saying the result will be more chaos at our border, more lives exploited by evil human traffickers, and more illegal immigration. Despite pushback, the plan rolling forward.
And Megan joins us now from Los Angeles. Megan, are all 25,000 going to be let in?
Well, Jose, while 25,000 migrants are expected to the U.S., the number of people that actually make it into the country will likely be less because many have already returned home to their native countries. Jose?
Megan Fitzgerald in Los Angeles, thank you. Still ahead tonight, the school board caught on camera making fun of parents. The fallout today. We're back with a major fallout tonight from a virtual school board meeting in California that the public wasn't supposed to hear. Kathy Park reports.
Let them play! Tonight, frustrations over reopening schools deepening in California, triggering protests among parents and even fueling comments made by school board members caught on a hot mic.
Are we alone?
Yeah.
If you're going to call me out, I'm going to up.
For several minutes, a board of trustees with the Oakley Union Elementary School Board could be heard criticizing parents.
It's really unfortunate that they want to pick on us because they want their babysitters back.
The discussion abruptly cuts off when the group realizes they had a live audience.
Oh, we have the meeting open to the public right now.
A viewer recorded the meeting and uploaded it to YouTube, sparking swift backlash among parents who demanded the members involved step down.
It is shocking to our community, and it really damaged the trust that we thought we had with our board.
The board president was the first to resign, calling her comments callous and uncalled for. And overnight, the rest followed suit, issuing an apology, writing in part, "We realize it is our responsibility to model the conduct that we expect of our students and staff, and it is our obligation to build confidence in district leadership. Our comments failed you in both regards. The school reopening struggles span the country. Last month, Dr. Anthony Fauci was hopeful that kids could get vaccinated starting late spring. On Friday, he adjusted the schedule.
We will likely get information for high schoolers at some time in the fall, but it is, I would say, more than unlikely we will not have data on elementary school children until at least the first quarter of 2022.
A pushback timeline as a pandemic stretches on. Kathy Park, NBC News.
Up next, our groundbreaking study about teens and sleep during the pandemic. We're back with our special series, Kids Under Pressure. We partnered with the nonprofit Challenge Success for an unprecedented study of the effects of the pandemic on high school students. What we found in our survey of more than 10,000 students was not only are the teens more stressed, they're sleeping a lot less. Here's Gotti Schwartz.
Probably get around like 4 to 5 hours of sleep.
For students across the country,
I definitely don't think I'm getting enough sleep.
This pandemic has turned sleep cycles upside down.
Our sleep schedules are just so messed up.
A lot of people assume that because of the pandemic, kids are sleeping more. Have you seen that among students?
Actually, I've seen the opposite. They have a harder time sticking to a sleep routine, and they're sleeping less now.
Our survey found nearly half of students say they're getting less sleep than before the lockdowns or virtual learning, and half of male students and even more female students saying stress keeps them up at night.
My eyes are already so strained from spending so many hours in front of a screen, just not getting enough sleep. It's really hard to focus.
Only 6% of students reported getting the recommended 9 or more hours of sleep at night, with most clocking less than 7 hours.
How much sleep did you guys get last night?
Maybe 7 hours of sleep.
7 hours? How about you?
I think I got around 6 or 7.
Samira Iqbal and Shreya Anand are students at La Cañada High School in California.
I've been getting less sleep just because I don't have a set schedule anymore. And I would say, you know, the anxiety and stress of COVID keeps me up at night sometimes.
But Samira and Shreya are quick to point out they're some of the lucky ones. Back in 2017, their high school implemented a bold change, moving the start time from 7:45 to 8:30 to allow students to get more sleep. Jim Cartnell is the principal at La Cañada.
When you have more rest and a more relaxed feeling on campus, it really changes the whole tenor of the day because you start so much more positively.
What has the late start done for you?
It just gives you more time in the morning. If I'm sleeping a little bit later, I have that kind of space in the morning that I can sleep in. It's helped the student body as a whole, the sleeping schedule tremendously, and just it's better for mental health.
And teachers say that extra sleep means more productivity in the classroom.
Did you notice a difference when you made the transition?
I think it was better for everybody. Just that extra time for them to kind of take their time in the morning automatically just brightened everybody's mood.
Principal Cartnell says if there was ever a time for other schools to reconsider early morning class, it's now, when school has already been disrupted and students need sleep the most.
Can you ever imagine going back to an early start?
I wouldn't want to imagine going back to an earlier start. It's made all the difference.
Gotti Schwartz, NBC News, La Cañada, California.
When we come back, one family's unique project putting Black history in the spotlight. There's good news tonight about empowerment and breaking barriers. When one mom noticed her little girl wasn't being taught enough about Black history, she started a unique project to show her anything is possible.
This is so much more than just a game of dress-up. It's part of a years-long history lesson about powerful Black women. One started in 2015 when Chauncey Boyd Rogers noticed her daughter Ava's class had nothing on the calendar for Black History Month.
You said, well, if they aren't going to do it, I'm going to do it.
I'll do it. Yes, of course, she's going to learn about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks. And there are people that we hear about over and over again, but I wanted Ava to go deeper.
So the pair started researching stories and creating costumes, with Ava copying the looks crafted from items around the house. Through the years, Ava's portrayed more than 150 influential Black women. One of the first, Phyllis Wheatley, a slave who published a book of poetry. Others include trailblazers like Harriet Tubman, research scientist Jane Hinton, icon and educator Shirley Chisholm, the first black woman elected to the United States Congress. Ava's learning about athletes, too, even entertainers and artists.
I wanted her to just see that Black women have done a lot of things. They've accomplished amazing things in every field, and that just helps her know that she can do and be anything.
The project, a hit on social media, with fans writing, "This is a historic moment and wonderful, informative. Even this made me cry." It's inspiring for 11-year-old Ava, too, as she looks to the future.
What do you think you want to do when you grow up?
I really, really want to be a singer and an actress. And I think that I'm kind of funny and I want to be a comedian. I also want to be an author.
The contributions of so many, creating unlimited possibilities thanks to these unique lessons.
It's a celebration.
Like Kamala Davy Harris.
But she can also see people who have persevered through America's past and even current times in America. And she can see that it is possible to be who she wants to be.
Shansia and Ava are working on their last tribute for the month. That will be Vice President Kamala Harris. And please join me for my digital series, American Dreaming. I speak with legendary TV host Don Francisco about his incredible career. It's at NBCNews.com/nightlyfilms or under the Nightly News podcasts. I'm Jose Diaz-Balart. Thank you for the privilege of your time. Good night.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.